Democracy, a system of government which allows members of a population to decide their own leaders via a voting system, rather than relying on a aristocratic class. This system has arguably created a strong foothold in our everyday lives and has been able to maintain a steady presence since the time of the French Revolution, give or take. Since then, it has come to not merely be one of the possible forms of governance, but the default one, and by many considered the superior political system for the modern world. And it often goes unquestioned in both its principles and, of course, its practical outcomes. But it is my personal view that democracy carries with it one fatal flaw. The flaw, in this case, being the idea or concept of correct or a moral consensus. The notion that if a large enough group of people agree that a certain idea, principle, or law is good and true, then that principle, law, or idea ought be implemented in government. Without getting into specifics, I think it's quite obvious why this principle is laughable. The first problem is a lack of real consensus. The reason I said in my characterization a large enough percentage of the population is because not all democratic systems require an above 50% threshold to elect political parties, leaders to hold important office. Take, for example, the parliamentary system, where you'd be lucky if you won 30% of the vote, but this could still get you the highest possible numbers and thus the prime minister's seat and executive power in many aspects. Perhaps you need to form a coalition government, and this is what often happens. But if we were to consider, but if 30% of a population agrees with you, then logically, by doing simple math, we can determine that 70% of the population did not vote for you. And this is the worst case scenario, sure, but again, not a promising sign. If this is the case, then how can we possibly say that such a system represents the needs, wants, desires of a people? The second major flaw is voters' willingness to change their minds. For the Democratic stands out there, please tell me, why do you think it makes sense that on average, party allegiance can shift so quickly in just a 4 to 6 year span? How is it possible that the average person is smart enough to make decisions which govern the future of a nation when their opinions on social, economic, religious, all sorts of matters can change within the span of 4 to 6 years? If these people truly are smart enough for self-governments, why do their opinions on such important matters change so drastically in such a short period of time? This displays another major flaw with the democratic system, the fact that the average person is very susceptible to propaganda from all sides of the political spectrum. This essentially guarantees that parties that have more resources, aka more money, can dedicate those same resources towards advertisements in newspapers, online, wherever they need to put them, in order to gain power via their influence, wealth, via propaganda. So why do you think politicians hand out balloons, candy, all these sorts of things? They do this not as a sweet symbol of, oh, there goes the mayor, and he hands out his candy, and he's polite, and he kisses the babies, and he does all of his nice things. This may seem like a harmless ritual, sure, but a system which allows or even enables individuals to hold even a modicum of power based off of what looks as to me to be soft bribery is one which is destined for failure.